So in compassionate communication, there's a practice called the jackal and the giraffe. So, guess who I'm being? I'm using this, it's probably more of a fox, but I'm using it to represent the jackal. And I want to give you some examples of what happens when we respond as the jackal, and then what's possible when we respond as the giraffe. So, what we've seen in politics demonstrated by perhaps both, but mostly, I definitely have seen it demonstrated by Trump, is that there will be a time, we have all done this. It's not just him, so we can all possibly all relate to this. So we're in this place where we're kind of like, we're centered, and we've kind of got a sense of our adultness, and oh, thanks for the hearts, guys. And then something will happen, and we will just want to rip their head off. And the reaction of the jackal is that the jackal is merciless. The jackal will like want to just sear you and eat you alive. The jackal will say things that are judgmental, demeaning, offensive, reactionary, separative, power over, degrading. It will use swear words. It will be attacking. That's the jackal. So like that. Oh, you blah 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 blah. Well, when you did blah blah, blaming. When you did blah 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 blah, it was blah 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 blah. It's all about you, and you should die. Jackal. Recognize if you're in jackal. If we're in jackal, it's really, really important to do something to self-center and to self-soothe. If you're with somebody who's in jackal, it's really important not to engage. Not to engage in the fight, not to engage in their attack, and to stay as neutral and as observing as possible. It's really helpful to take a break, because when the reptilian brain, the hindbrain that's activated when the jackal responds like that, it is not connecting with the parts of our brain that give a hoot about another person's well-being or care about them. So that would be more like our limbic system that feels, or our prefrontal cortex that can see the whole situation. So the jackal doesn't care. And the jackal is wired into every single human based on our physiology and our neurology. So when a jackal is here, if we don't try and make the jackal wrong, because it's like here this is, and we give support to that person or the people in those situations to get back into a place of connectedness to their full brain and to their heart. How that happens most commonly is taking a break from conversation, taking a walk in nature, taking maybe quiet, non-communicative sharing, like touch or eye gazing. When it's really bad, usually like a connected timeout, it's called. So you go, oh, okay, let's pause this conversation, but we're going to take the next hour and go have a walk, or go take a bath, or call a friend, or something, or pet the animals, something that can again get the system connected to all of its parts again. Because when we're in jackal, we are going to not be able to have access to what we need in order to have the intimacy, the communication, and the connection that is going to be the most, it's going to serve the most. Yes. So, noted. If somebody is commonly, regularly, consistently going to jackal, warning. There's some learning to do. There's some training of their system. There's some awareness to do. There's some personal healing work. There is some maturing. Did I say that word already? Potential. The person needs to be willing and capable. We all can. but is the person willing and capable? I mean, obviously, if you're a child in developmental stages, there are parts of your brain might not be developed yet. They are not developed until you reach certain ages to be able to do this most consistently. So what ages are that? I'm not the expert, but like early teens, you can start bringing this back online. 25, 27 is when the prefrontal cortex is completely developed, as far as I know. So the capacity to self-reflect and choose to navigate life according to what is aligned with what your values and your morals and what your desires and dreams are is most online at that age. So I'm saying all this stuff because there's people in high levels of power and influence that are masquerading with these parts of themselves, showing them off, which is okay, but it's not definitely the entrainment and the signal we want to be sending out to mass society of like what's possible for relating. What's possible for relating? What's possible? Where is humanity going? What way are we evolving? What are we developing into, as a species? If we're gonna keep highlighting the reptilian brain reactionary jackal choices and actions, that's gonna keep validating and imprinting that in mass consciousness, which obviously is part of what's happening. But let's get more. My vote and my wish is that we get more and more people into positions of influence and visibility, and with high levels, spheres of influence and levels of respect, then go to role models that have these capacities online that can guide. Their systems are developed enough that they can go there in themselves, and they can guide people into their hearts and their full brain processing, so we can live a more connected, loving, peaceful, empowered, and awakened life. Yeah. So I talked, and let's talk about the giraffe, because the giraffe is all about that. Okay, hold on. All right, I'm coming back. I'm not going to be as exciting as you want. Okay. All right. This is my giraffe today. I have a cute little stuffed giraffe, but he's at my office. So the giraffe is chosen in compassionate communication as the symbol of what is possible. What's possible for humanity. What's possible as far as our communication. And so giraffes are chosen because they have the longest necks. They can see and have perspective. They can oversee what's happening, and they have a long range of visual capacity to see what's on the horizon. They take these things into consideration. They have the largest heart of any land mammal, and they're very strong. There's long legs, very strong. They hold their ground, and this is kind of cool. If they see somebody that's a threat, they will observe them, like a lion even. They'll just watch. And if a lion comes towards them, they don't need to scream. Yeah. They don't need to put up a fuss. I'm just adjusting my lighting. They go like this. They lift one leg and they just look. They hold the ground. They have clear boundaries and a solid sense of self. They're solid, grounded. They'll also eat from the acacia trees, and they eat leaves and they eat the thorns. So they're eating these, and they're eating the leaves with one part of their mouth, and they're putting the thorns in this other separate special pocket in their mouth. And so they're taking in all of life, and they're processing it, they're digesting it. they're taking the leaves and what's available, and they're eating that, and they're putting special enzymes over into the pocket with these thorns so that it over time breaks down and becomes digestible. So they have patience. They have understanding for the different, ebbs and flows of life. They are able to process things in certain ways. So, some examples of why the giraffe is being chosen for what's possible in our communication and our connection in humanity. When we are in a situation, like I said already, we could go into jackal, or we can go into giraffe. Giraffe is going to, there's a couple different modes of giraffe. There's, and jackal as well, there's the internal conversation and then the external conversation. And both are really important. So some people have the jackal inside, like, oh my God, you're just such a mess, you're this, you're that, and they'll be judgmental and harsh and demanding and blaming and all these things on the internal world. And then they'll also do it on the external world, usually. So then this giraffe version pauses and goes, hey, what do I need? What am I feeling? What am I feeling right now? What am I really feeling right now? It's such a beautiful practice, guys. It's a whole training system for our, it's a training program for our system, really. It's amazing. So it's like taking, okay, what am I feeling? Instead of going rah to try and protect or defend myself, I'm going to pause and be like, okay, what am I feeling right now? What am I really feeling? And then what is that from? What am I needing? What's happening that's causing me to feel that way? And what is this other person feeling? And what are they needing? Woo! And then communicating from that place of awareness and from a place of vulnerability and honesty. So it's taking these parts of us that could be reacting as the devil, the devil, like I was saying earlier, or the cold-hearted witch, or the jackal, or any other fancy parts of us that are used to defending and getting on getting on the mic and in the steering wheel to like make sure our needs are met. These are all lower brain choices that were about power and control and fighting and fear, covering up fear. We have those options, and that's okay. But if we step back and be like, is that really getting me what I need? Is that really taking me where I want to go? When we bring in what some call it our upper brain or our prefrontal cortex, we start being able to see what the pieces are, what can be navigated, how can we navigate this so that yes, ultimately my needs are met and no damage is done and I'm honored and they're honored. Such a beautiful practice. I'm just gonna breathe for a moment because it's so good. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. It's a big training program for our system, our minds, our hearts, our bodies, and to do this more and more and more in the places that are challenging, where we do have the habitual reactions, is it's a day-by-day practice. Hey, thanks for the hearts. It's a day-by-day, situation-by-situation practice. With that said, when and where you are feeling the most triggered, notice, do I feel like I need to be somebody I'm not? Do I feel like I need to react in a certain way to protect myself? What am I feeling and what am I needing? Those are good questions. But it takes us being able to have our brain, parts of our brain available. And if the reaction, if our system is reacting so much, we're going to be the majority of us is going to be operating from our reptilian brain, which is going to limit our access to those answers. So that's when we need to take those breaks. We need to get back into self-centering and self-soothing so we can get those parts back on. Daniel Siegel, who is an incredible neuroscientist and teaches it to children as like we have our brain, and we have our upstairs brain, our downstairs brain. And when we are functioning optimally, we have them both connected. So we can have our full range of responsiveness and operate from that place. But when we get triggered, is my word, triggered or challenged, we will, this can go up. We'll actually lose the connection between our prefrontal cortex, our upstairs brain, and our downstairs brain. And when that happens, we are in reaction, fight, fright, or freeze, defensiveness, our patterns, our shadow is most likely to come out then. And he calls it flip the lid. So when we have flipped our lid, we're not available for life in the way that we as humans are designed to be operating. And so the humans with these beautiful, brilliant, incredible brains are designed to be operating. So that when that happens, we take our break. And we can teach children this too. They flip their lid. It's like, oh, okay, time to go out in the garden, or time to do something else, until they get it back down. And when they get it back down, that's when we can have the conversations. That's when we can have the conversations with ourselves about, hey, what's really going on. And that's also when we can have the conversations with the other people, address what's happening or why, or move into apology or repair building or doing a redo. All of these things need to happen when we have both of those parts together. Yes? Intimately connecting and knowing ourselves. Yes, rock stars. What's your shadow? Is there a part that comes out that's like a major character for you? Is there one that you really love and adore, that you it's always curious to find out, like, if we really like that character, like what's underneath that, and including, we can have shadow reasons why we are a certain way. So even if it's a light version, like being super loving, like being super, super helpful, like that could look really beautiful and might not be at all anything you would consider shadow. But if we look underneath that, what's motivating that being like a dominant thing that we think we have to do, or that we are doing? It could be because we are scared, so scared that our needs are not going to be met. So we are super, super, super making sure everybody else has their needs met, sometimes even at our own detriment. And we are doing that so that if they have their needs all met and they're happy, then maybe they'll have a little bit for us. So there's a shadow to that, which is a little bit manipulative and a little bit self-deprecating. Is that the word? That is also important to know. So all of these characters have different dynamics and different value and different reasons, and can provide different pieces to more deeply understanding who you are, how you operate. And deep. I'm going deep. I'll go one more level deep, which is that beyond these characters is the most what's the word? Impeccable essence of you. It's not quantified or qualified by any name or any character. It's beyond all of that. That is where we're all finding our way back to. So may we be intimately connected with all of who we are, and then so much so it creates this river of life that undeniably connects us to the essence that we are. to you in all of your costumes, including these human ones. These human, beautiful costumes. Love to all of you and all of that which you are. Thank you for joining me here today on Let's Get Intimate with Viraja and All Hallows Eve. Please reach out if there's any way I can help you and you want to dive deeper with any of these things. And also, if you're willing to fill out a market research survey that I've recently put out there so I can create information and supportive products for you and those that you love, please, please, please do so. You can find it on my wall, and I'll also post it in the comment thread below. I'd really appreciate it. And if you can like this and share this with those you feel it might be supportive for, I would appreciate that as well. And I have a Facebook page, Viraja Prema, if you want to like that, to stay tuned for other important cool things coming up. That would be awesome too. Okay, love to you and your families, and blessings. Mwah. I love you. I love you. I love you. Bye.